Running every one of your AI agents on the best model like Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.5 is the complete wrong move. Most operators and people who are building AI agents default to the most capable model for everything because they think more is always better. That is a massive mistake. It burns money you do not need to spend, and it actually bottlenecks the work that actually needs the top tier capability. There is a smarter way to think about this, and it is the difference between a sustainable agent operation and one that bleeds you dry. My name is Andrew. I run 11 AI agents across 3 businesses, 2 of which are 7-figure companies. I've logged over 700 hours building inside of OpenClaw at this point and took my AI agency to multiple 5 figures without hiring a single human employee. This is the OpenClaw Blueprint series. This is the last video in the OpenClaw Blueprint series, the final video. Today we're going to be covering the model strategy, how I decide which agent runs on which model and why. Now I have a quick question for you. Have you ever defaulted to the most expensive model for an agent because you assumed more capability would just give you better results? Yeah, I did as well, especially in the beginning, and it was the worst move ever. Have you ever looked at your monthly token bill and realized you are paying premium prices for tasks that did not actually need premium tier reasoning? Of course you have. That's why you're watching this video right now, to learn about this. And have you ever wondered why your top tier agent is slower or more expensive than it needs to be, while your simpler tasks are getting more horsepower than they will ever really need or use? I used to think this as well. Okay, and that is the exact problem that this video solves. Now, it's not that the best model is wrong, it's that it's running every agent on the best model is wrong. And I made this mistake for a very long time, burned a significant amount of funds doing so I'm saving you a boatload of money here by watching this video and sticking till the end. Now, here's the moment I figured this out. Early on, I was using Machiavelli for everything. My thinking was that since he is the best, I might as well just use him for not only the orchestration, but also to do simple things and communicate with him for everything and anything I need. Now, to be clear, this was before I really understood how powerful a model like Sonnet 4.6 was, and also that I did not need Opus 4.6 at the time of, going through all of this for everything. Then I looked at the monthly bill, and I realized something obvious in hindsight. Mercury was using Opus to monitor Slack channels and confirm client statuses. It's not Opus level work. It is an execution level work that Sonnet handles just as well at a fraction of the cost. Meanwhile, Machiavelli, who actually needs deep strategic reasoning across multiple businesses, was sharing capacity with simple operational agents that were burning the same compute. I was paying premium for tasks that did not need it, and I was throttling the agent that actually did need it. And here's why this matters. Because every dollar you spend on a more capable model than the task requires is a dollar you cannot reinvest into more agents, into client work, into growth. At small scale, everything is annoying. At 11 agents, it is a real number. Token costs compound. Bad model routing is one of the fastest ways to make the agent infrastructure feel expensive when it should feel like leverage. And I wasn't going to keep paying that same fat bill. So I built a model routing strategy across all 11 agents that matches the model to the task instead of defaulting everything to the top. Once it was in place, my monthly cost dropped significantly, like try $1,500 significant. And the agents that needed top tier reasoning actually got it. Now, if you guys are getting value from this video and you also want to influence the type of content that I'm producing on this channel and the talking points on the lives every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m., and you want to be able to speak with me directly in the Telegram lives that I host on a weekly basis in the channel, then go ahead and click the link down in the description below. It's completely free, nothing to sell you at all in there, just value to give, and you can influence exactly what I cover here. So if that's interesting to you, links down in the description below. But other than that, let's get back to the video. Now, most AI tutorials act like model selection is a one-time decision you make at a setup. Pick the most capable model, configure your agent, and move on. That is the wrong mental model. Real operators treat model selection as an ongoing routing decision based on what the agent actually does. The model is not a static choice. It is a dynamic resource you allocate, and the model strategy is how I do that allocation. Now in this video, I am going to show you the exact tier structure I run across my 11 agents. And you could take from this video what I use and make it your own however you want. Your agents will do different things than mine, the exact assignments will look different, but the underlying principle is the same, which is the model has to match the work, not the other way around. The structure is absolutely non-negotiable, but the specifics are yours to play with. So let me walk you through these 3 tiers. I divide my 11 agents into 3 tiers based on what kind of work they do. Strategy tier, execution tier, operations tier, and each tier gets a different model. And the tier each agent sits in is determined by the work, not by the agent's name or seniority. Tier 1 is the strategy tier. This is the top tier. The agents that run on Opus 4.7 or ChatGPT 5.5, I have them on this model. Only one of my agents currently sits at this tier, and it is Machiavelli, my CEO agent. He handles architectural decisions, multi-business orchestration and communication, and the kind of cross-domain reasoning that genuinely requires top-tier capabilities. When Mercury or Genghis Khan or any other agent escalates something that needs real strategic thinking, it lands with Machiavelli, and Opus or GPT 5.5 is what makes that handoff worth it. The reason this tier is so small is simple. The strategic reasoning is rare in any operation. Most of the work an 11-agent system does is execution and operations, so I reserve most of the expensive model for the work that genuinely cannot be done at a lower tier. Tier 2 is the execution tier. This is where Genghis Khan sits and most of my building agents, to be honest. They run on Claude Sonnet 4.6. Sonnet handles the meat of my operation: daily implementation work, building features, running deployments, coordinating with other agents, all of the work that requires capable reasoning, but does not require Opus or GPT 5.5 level depth. And Sonnet is significantly cheaper per token than Opus and GPT 5.5, which means I can run multiple execution tier agents at the cost of a single strategy tier agent. The trick with the tier 2 is that the line between strategy and execution can kind of blur sometimes. An agent might do 80% execution work and 20% strategic work in their normal day. The question I ask is, when this agent gets stuck, do they need to escalate to a higher tier model, or can they reasonably solve it themselves on Sonnet? If the answer is they can usually handle it, they belong on Sonnet. If they regularly need Opus level help, they belong in tier 1, or they need to be split into tier 1 agent and tier 2 agent, or they simply just escalate it to Machiavelli, who can handle the problems as we've talked about in videos before this. And if you missed those videos in this OpenClaw Blueprint series, the link to the playlist is down in the description below. Now, tier 3 is the operations tier. This is where most operators are leaving money on the table. The agents at this tier handle high volume, low complexity work, repetitive tasks, status checks, channel monitoring, routine confirmations, things that do not require deep reasoning, just consistent execution of well-defined patterns. This is something that like Haiku would be a good model to put here. Same thing for like a heartbeat. Haiku can be the best one for that as well. Now, Mercury, my frontline operator in my client's business, sits at this tier. So do most of my support agents. They run on Sonnet at this tier as well right now, but the operations tier is the one most likely to graduate to even cheaper models as model options evolve. Because the work itself is not at the bottleneck, cost efficiency is. Now, the reason this tier matters most for cost is that it does the highest volume of token usage by far. The strategy tier might handle 5 hard decisions a day. The operations tier might process hundreds of routine events a day. Even small per token cost differences compound massively when the volume is high. That is why getting tier 3 right unlocks more savings than optimizing tier 1 and tier 2 combined. Now, if you guys are getting value from this video and you want to communicate and connect with me directly, Twitter is where to do that, and a lot of people are doing it and requesting to DM me there. So if that's you and you want to communicate with me directly, Twitter is the place to go. Link is down in the description to give me a follow there, and go ahead and drop me a DM. Now, sometimes I don't get notified when I actually do get DM requests, so if I don't respond for a little bit, I apologize, but trust me, I will get back to you as I check the DM requests on a regular basis. Nonetheless, if you want to follow me and connect with me directly, link is down in the description below to follow me on Twitter. Now let's get back to the video. So the tiers are the structure. The routing rules are how you decide which agent sits in which tier, but there are 4 questions I ask every agent, and those answers determine the tier. Question 1 is, what is the complexity of the decisions this agent has to make? If the agent is making routine yes or no calls based on the clear rules, that is tier 3. If the agent is implementing well-defined work with some judgment but mostly clear paths, that is tier 2. And if the agent is reasoning across multiple domains, weighing trade-offs, or making calls that affect downstream agents, that is tier 1. The question is not whether the agent can reason at higher levels. Most modern models can. The question is whether they need to in order to do their actual job you're giving them. Question 2 is how many events does this agent handle per day? High volume agents go to tier 3 if the work allows it. The cost compounds with volume. A simple cost difference per token becomes a significant monthly difference when you are processing thousands of events and cron jobs. Low volume strategic agents can sit at higher tiers because the absolute cost stays manageable even at premium per token rates, utilizing something like GPT 5.5 or Opus 4.7. Question 3 is how often does this agent escalate to other agents for help? If the agent regularly escalates to Machiavelli or Nicola because it cannot handle decisions on its own, it might actually need a higher tier, or the work might need to be split between a strategic agent and an execution agent. Frequent escalations could be a signal that the model tier and the work just do not match. Now, question number 4 is what is this agent's cost at full volume on its current tier? Run the math. Take the per token cost of the model, multiply by the average tokens per event, multiply by the daily event volume, and then multiply by 30 days. That gives you the monthly cost for that agent. Now do the same math at one tier lower and one tier higher. Compare the cost difference to the capability difference, okay? It's very simple. This is the question most operators never actually run. They assume the cost is fine because each individual call feels extremely small. But across 11 agents and hundreds of daily events, the math compounds in ways that would probably surprise you, okay? So just run the numbers and let the numbers tell you which tier you're wanting to choose based on all of these variables. And if you're confused on how to do this, simply ask your agent for help. A lot of people don't do this, and it's very simple. If you have questions on stuff like this, ask your agent. They will be able to help, and that would be your main agent for that matter. Now, let me show you exactly how to set this up, because model strategy that is not documented is not a strategy. It's just opinions. Also, you can have your agent set this up for you, okay? Just feed this video to your agent and tell them you want a model tier assignment generated for each agent in your operation. Most of the analysis I'm about to walk you through, your agent can do for you in 5 minutes or less. Now, the model assignment for each agent is extremely simple. Just tell your agent what model you want their brain to be, and they will take care of the rest. If you do not have the API key needed in order to run that model, just ask your agent to tell you what to do and where to go in order to get the API key and where you need to sign up and all that good stuff. It will literally walk you right through it. Now, across all 11 of my agents, I keep a master tier assignment matrix. It is not a separate file. It is a section in my own master notes. Okay, for each agent, it lists the current tier, the current model, the monthly cost estimate, and a reevaluation date. The reevaluation date matters more than you think, okay? Models evolve, new tiers emerge. What was once the right call 3 months ago might not be the right call today. And I will review the entire matrix every single quarter. Some agents stay where they are, some get upgraded, and some get downgraded. But you should not just set and forget this, okay? You need to be checking in on this because, again, this is the difference between you saving money and spending more money. And this is the difference between you being able to reinvest into your business or create more agents and not. So don't just, take this for granted. You need to do this. Now, here is the operational nuance. New agents and new tasks usually need to start at a higher tier than they need. I deliberately over-provision at the start because I would rather pay slightly more during the learning phase than have the agent fail because it was under-provisioned. Now, this is my choice, okay? You don't have to do the same thing and you could do the opposite. But once the agent demonstrates consistent execution at the higher tier, I evaluate whether it can graduate down, not up, down, because the goal is to find the lowest tier that handles the work reliably, and each downgrade gets noted in the agent's skill.md file with the date and the reason. Each upgrade gets noted too, but upgrades are rare. Most evolution moves toward cost efficiency, not capability expansion. This is the same trust graduation pattern from videos 5, 6, and 7. New gets generous, proven gets optimized, and it applies to model assignments just like it applies to the communication access and the red line exceptions. Now, once I locked in the model strategy across all 11 agents, My monthly cost dropped and my system performance got better, not worse. Okay, Mercury on Sonnet at the operations tier kept doing her work just as well at a fraction of what Opus would have cost. Genghis Khan stayed productive at Sonnet because his work was always Sonnet level. I was just not routing him there. Obviously, the math is not perfect every month, and edge cases happen, but the day-to-day cost efficiency I gained from this routing is the difference between an operation that pays for itself and an operation that always feels expensive. And if you're an AI agency like myself and you own your own AI agency, then your clients are going to really appreciate this. They're going to want to put that money right back into their pocket. I can tell you right now at the time of recording this video, one of my clients was spending about $3,500 a month. Now, I put him on the OAuth for GPT 5.5 on his $200 a month subscription, and he's now saving an extensive amount of funds, and I couldn't tell you how happy he is that I set this up for him. So things change. You need to be able to adapt, especially if you're an agency. You definitely are going to want to ensure that you are saving your clients money at all costs. And if you're doing this for yourself, then obviously you would want to save more money anyways. So why in the world would you not do this and have more money to put down in your pocket and or invest in other agents or invest in whatever you're doing or whatever business you're running? For you, that means agent costs what they actually should cost instead of what defaulting to the top tier costs. It means that the budget you free up can go into more agents, more clients, more growth, whatever you would like. And the bigger your operation gets, the more this matters, because at scale, model routing is the difference between margin that compounds and the cost that compounds. Right now, most operators are still defaulting every agent to the most capable model and assuming that it is the right call. The ones who are routing intelligently are the ones who can actually scale agent operations without cost sinking the rest of the business. So this is the end of the OpenClaw Blueprint series. 8 videos, the full system. You started with Soul.md and Agents.md, the foundation that gives every agent its identity and operating rules. You learned about the 8,000 character trap that silently breaks most setups. You got the 9-file reload protocol that survives every context compaction. You got the 6 principles in the Thinking.md that teaches agents to make decisions like a CEO. You got the 10 red lines that prevent catastrophic mistakes. You got the lessons.md, the file that turns every mistake into compounding intelligence. You got the multi-agent communication architecture that turns 11 agents into one team. And now you have the model strategy that makes all of it cost efficient. That is the entire blueprint. Nothing held back, no course, no paywall, 8 videos, and the operating system that runs my AI agency and saves my clients an extensive amount of money and gets them the results that they want, saving them much more per year than it costs for me and the agents to run for them. And let me be honest with you here. This series was structured intentionally. Each video built on the last. Each one introduced characters and concepts that paid off in the next. I did this on purpose because the system itself works the same way. Each file builds on the others. Each rule enforces the next. If you watched all 8 videos, you did not just learn 8 things. You learned how a real agent operating system fits together. That is what most tutorials or content creators never give you, or hide behind paywalls and still not deliver on the value like this. Trust me, I'm in all of them, and you are not getting this in-depth level of content and just intricate depth and guidance like I'm giving you. So here is what to do next. If you are going to actually implement this, start with video 1 and work forward. Build the Soul.md and Agents.md first, then layer the rest. The order does matter. It's why I did this intentionally. So subscribe and hit the bell notification so that way you're notified whenever I upload my next video on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and when I go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And also join the Telegram. The link is down in the description below. There's absolutely nothing to sell you, but that's where you have influence over the content that I put on this channel, the talking points on the live streams, and you have the ability to go ahead and join the Telegram lives I host in there, so that way you could speak to me directly. This series was indeed influenced by some of the polls I ran. And if you want to communicate with me directly, you could do so on Twitter or X. The link is down in the description below to go ahead and go to my profile, give me a follow, and DM me. This is the OpenClaw Blueprint series. Thanks for watching the whole thing, and I will see you guys in the next video.